For those of us juggling the many demands of work, family, and daily responsibilities, finding even a moment to focus on ourselves can feel like an impossible luxury. Life moves quickly, and in the middle of all the chaos, personal time often gets pushed to the back burner. I've come to realize that these rare pockets of solitude aren't just about rest, they're essential for maintaining balance, peace, and a sense of well-being. Lately, I've noticed that the gaps between truly unwinding have stretched longer, especially as I enter my late 40s. It's curious how the pace changes, sometimes slowing down, yet often requiring more intentional effort to reconnect with oneself. My wife and I have always made an effort to prioritize our relationship, creating small windows during the hectic week to connect, whether it's a brief lunch together when the kids are away or a quick shared moment after a long day. Even so, life doesn't always cooperate, and there are days when those meaningful exchanges simply don't happen. She's an amazing woman, supportive, thoughtful, and attentive to my needs, but even the best intentions can be sidetracked by the demands of daily life. This particular Saturday morning presented such an opportunity. My wife had plans to go out with the girls for the farmer's market, followed by lunch and some shopping. It was the kind of outing that might stretch over several hours, a chance for her to relax, catch up with friends, and enjoy herself. I was tempted to join, but the pull of unfinished projects around the house was strong. I declined, knowing that while I wasn't particularly excited about spending the day tackling chores, the chance to have the house to myself was worth the sacrifice. You know how much I love shopping, hun, but I have a noble duty to finish these house projects, I told her with a half smile and a raised eyebrow. She shot back with a smirk and a playful roll of her eyes as she grabbed her purse and headed for the car. Right. Good luck with that. And just like that, the garage door shut behind her, leaving me alone with a rare gift time. Time to catch up on things that often sit undone. Time to breathe, unwind, and maybe even indulge a little bit in some much-needed self-care. I stood in the quiet house, momentarily grateful for the interruptions and distractions of everyday life, which despite their chaos reminded me of the love and connection we share. But today, I could turn the focus inward. I savored the stillness, the freedom to move at my own pace, and the privacy to explore those parts of myself that often remain tucked away under layers of responsibility. I made my way to the kitchen first, knowing that simple things could set the tone for my afternoon. Hydration was key, especially if I wanted to maintain my energy and stay grounded in the moment. I reached into the fridge, pulling out a fresh, small Persian cucumber, a quirky but trusty companion for these moments of personal time. I rinsed it carefully, warmed it in my hands to take the chill off, and smiled at the simple ritual. It was a small gesture of kindness to myself. Heading upstairs, I closed every drape and door, shutting out the world and sealing the space around me. Stripping down to my boxers, I felt immediate relief from the fabric, allowing my body to breathe and relax. I noticed a familiar stirring as my skin cooled and settled into the calm of the room. It was as though my body had been waiting for this moment, quietly alert and ready. In many ways, these personal moments mirror the intimacy I share with my wife, the trust, the comfort, and the gentle exploration of pleasure that builds slowly with care and intention. I began my familiar routine, caressing and lightly scratching, moving with deliberate slowness. The simple side-to-side rocking motion through my thin, stretchy boxer briefs was comforting and familiar, like a well-loved song playing softly in the background. This gentle friction kept me connected, my mind drifting between thoughts of her and the cascading sensations building within me. Sitting back in our lounge chair, I closed my eyes and surrendered to the rising waves of feeling, allowing my body to respond naturally. My breathing deepened and slowed, my muscles relaxed even as my awareness sharpened. Sometimes it's not about rushing to a destination, but savoring each moment of anticipation and connection with oneself. The gentle sweeping motion allowed me to practice what I call slow build-up, pausing when needed, breathing through the sensations, and then returning with intention. My free hand roamed softly across my chest, exploring sensitive spots, lightly touching thighs, nipples, and other intimate areas that often go unnoticed in the rush of daily life. It was a dance of mindfulness blended with desire. In the quiet of my room, I found a surprising sense of peace. These moments reminded me that pleasure, in all its forms, is a gift, not just a physical release, but an invitation to slow down, listen, and honor the body we inhabit. There's a sacredness to self-care, a humility in embracing our own needs, and a joy in the simple act of being present with ourselves. As time passed, I leaned into this rare space of solitude, grateful for the chance to reconnect with my own body and spirit. Tomorrow would bring more projects, more responsibilities, and the bustle of family life, and that was okay. But today, I had this memento reminder that even amidst the demands of being a husband, a father, and a man of faith, taking time to care for myself was not selfish, but necessary. I smiled to myself, feeling the gentle swell of satisfaction that comes not only from pleasure, but from self-acceptance and grace. This was my gift, my allowance, my way of saying thank you to the life I've been given. And with that thought warming me from the inside, I prepared to move forward, ready to take on the rest of the day, renewed and whole. As the garage door closed behind my wife, I felt a mixture of relief and anticipation wash over me. The house fell into a peaceful quiet that I rarely got to enjoy uninterrupted. I knew this rare solitude was a gift, an opportunity to reconnect with myself in ways the busyness of everyday life often denied. Without wasting a moment, I headed straight to the kitchen where my first priority became clear: hydration. Replenishing my body was essential to prepare for the afternoon ahead. I pulled open the fridge and reached into a large pack of fresh produce, selecting a small Persian cucumber. It was cool and crisp, the kind of simple, natural item that felt almost symbolic in this memento, small reminder of nurturing and care. I rinsed it off, then held it in my hands for a moment to warm it up, taking the chill off. It was ready to play its part in this personal time I was about to indulge in. With the cucumber warmed, I moved quietly upstairs to the bedroom, shutting the doors and drawing the drapes to create a sanctuary where no distractions could intrude. The room dimmed into a warm shadow, inviting relaxation. I stripped down to my boxers, feeling the fabric hug my skin as a familiar awareness stirred. My body, perhaps sensing this unexpected freedom, had awakened fully, responding with an eager energy. Most of the time, my solo moments began in a familiar dance of touch and sensation, caressing and gently scratching the tender areas, my arousal gradually growing. One technique I've come to appreciate involves a steady motion, almost like a metronome, softly levering my aroused members side to side through the thin, stretchy fabric of my boxer briefs. The sensation is unique. The gentle friction combined with the softness of the material grazes the sensitive head against my belly skin, while stimulating the undersides in a way that is at once both pleasurable and soothing. Settling into our lounge chair, I gave myself permission to enjoy this routine fully. My mind floated freely between the sensations building in my body and warm imaginings of intimacy with my wife, the shared connection that sexuality had always been part of, even if time sometimes limited our physical moments together. I tilted my head back and let my eyes close as waves of pleasure pulsed through me. My glute muscles would occasionally clench involuntarily, riding along with the rising tides of sensation. What I appreciated most about this method was its flexibility. It encouraged edging, allowing me to build anticipation gradually, pausing when needed, breathing into the moment, and then returning with careful control. It created a powerful exchange between body and mind that stretched out the enjoyment for longer than usual. My free hand wasn't idle during this time. I roamed across my chest, gently caressing my nipples, running along my thighs, and softly stimulating my testicular area. These subtle touches amplified the sensation, creating a layered experience that combined physical pleasure with comfort and relaxation. It was mindful, deliberate, and even meditative, an act of self-respect in its purest form. Gradually, the time came to move this intimate session forward, towards spaces designed for greater ease and exploration. I made my way into the master bathroom, where the environment shifted from cozy and dim to warm and inviting. The mirror reflected my silhouette as I peeled off the last garment, admiring the side of my body responding, a reminder of the gift and mystery of physicality. I prepared the floor with a towel, knowing that the next step involved a bit of experimentation. The cucumber, already warmed and lubricated, was smooth and sturdy, about 8 inches long, perfect for gentle exploration, despite not being an official accessory. I applied generous amounts of lubricant onto the vegetable, ensuring it would glide easily and safely during the experience. A comfortable position took me down onto all fours, the familiar shift of weight allowing my body to relax while remaining attentive. Bringing the tip of the cucumber toward the sensitive rear, I began slowly, deceptively gentle, a delicate rub around the perimeter, a teasing sensation that prompted a mixture of surprise and anticipation. My breath caught slightly as I took a deep inhale and with careful focus began to ease the cucumber in. The smooth, cool surface made entry surprisingly pleasant. The stretch was unfamiliar but not painful, a new horizon in my personal landscape. As I slowly pushed the cucumber about halfway in, my grasp on the end shifted to a gentle wiggle. The subtle movements inside created an internal dance, igniting nerve endings and stirring sensations that intertwined with my growing arousal. The connection between external touch and internal exploration expanded, adding complexity and depth to the experience. Aware of the practical side, I took a dry washcloth and tucked it neatly into place where the cucumber protruded, offering a soft barrier and a way to contain any natural fluids. Comfort and hygiene mattered, even in private moments like these. Slipping my boxers back on over the setup added a layer of security and familiarity, grounding me before moving on to the next part of my self-care ritual. This entire process was more than physical, it was a way of honoring my body's needs and curiosities in a safe, private space. Each action was a deliberate choice, combining respect and adventure, revealing new possibilities within a relationship I have with myself. These moments of intimate exploration allowed me to better understand the connection between mind and body, between sensation and emotion. With the house quiet and time on my side, I felt a calm but electric anticipation for what was to come next. Stripping off the last piece of fabric, I stood for a moment before the mirror, taking in the sight of my throbbing companion, a reminder of the gift my body is, capable of so much sensation and response. The soft lighting cast shadows that emphasized the contours and strength of my form, and I felt a quiet sense of pride and gratitude. The bathroom, warm and peaceful, seemed like the perfect place to continue this intimate journey. I spread a towel on the floor, preparing my little sanctuary for the next phase of my experience. The smooth, 8-inch cucumber lay ready, coated generously with lubricant. Despite its modest role as an impromptu tool, it felt like a trusted friend, reliable and safe in my exploration. The generous application ensured softness and ease, minimizing any discomfort and allowing me to fully focus on the sensations. I knelt down on all fours, finding an easy balance between relaxation and control. The moment felt intimate and secretive, my body and mind fully present, attuned to every movement. Bringing the tip of the cucumber close to the sensitive area, I began a slow, deliberate motion, letting the cool, smooth surface gently rub against my skin. It was a delicate teasing, exciting, and tender all at once, awakening nerves and curiosity. Taking a deep breath, I eased the tip inside, a smooth entry that made me gasp softly at the unfamiliar yet pleasant sensation. It was new territory, an invitation to listen closely to what my body might enjoy, how it might respond. As I gradually pressed the cucumber about halfway in, I allowed myself to wiggle the end slightly, moving it with gentle care to explore the delicate inner spaces. The smoothness and steady presence created a thrilling contrast to the slower, more external sensations I'd been focusing on before. Inside, the subtle pressure stimulated without overwhelming, weaving pleasure through my pelvic floor, deepening the connection between body and mind. I felt a shiver of excitement ripple through me, surprising even in its intensity but welcomed fully. I took a clean, dry washcloth and tucked it carefully into place along the fold, covering the end of the cucumber that protruded, serving as a soft barrier and a practical measure to keep things neat and comfortable. Slipping my boxers back on over it all, I added a layer of security, a familiar fabric envelope to shield this private secret. The feeling of the gentle presence inside gave me a new awareness of my own body. Each breath seemed to carry the rhythm of that quiet but insistent invitation to explore further, to reconnect with sensations that might otherwise remain buried beneath daily distractions. This act of gentle exploration was more than physical. It was a dialogue between my body and me, an exercise in trust and openness. It pushed me to be present, to notice subtle shifts and responses, and to embrace vulnerability in private. In the stillness of the bathroom, I felt a kind of peace and acceptance settle over me as I prepared for what was next, a time to unwind and indulge myself fully, supported by the comfort and privacy I'd created. With the quiet hum of the house behind me and the warmth of the room surrounding me, I embraced the moment, eager yet calm. The connection to my body felt stronger than ever, a delicate balance of curiosity and respect, anticipation and patience. This was my time, my space, my gift, and I welcomed whatever came next with an open heart and mind. Settling into the massage chair was like sinking into a cocoon of warmth and comfort, a sanctuary that embraced every part of me. We had invested in this therapeutic recliner some time ago, recognizing the numerous benefits it offered, not just for sore muscles and stress relief, but for moments like these when I needed to reconnect with my body on a deeper level. Though it occupied quite a bit of space in our bedroom, we both agreed it was worth it. Its features were impressive: neck, back, arms, glutes, and leg massaging, all designed to deliver a full-body experience that could lull away tension and foster relaxation. I laid a soft towel across the leather seat, not only to keep it clean, but also to add a gentle barrier between me and the smooth surface beneath. Easing myself down with great care, I made sure not to disturb my inserted friend. The subtle weight and presence of the cucumber reminded me that this session was about more than just comfort. It was an exploration of sensation, vulnerability, and self-care. With a few presses on the remote, I selected the gentle massage program with mild strength, eager to feel the gradual awakening begin. The chair responded immediately, starting with a slow, firm, rolling motion that worked up the length of my back in a soothing wave. That initial sensation was comforting, a familiar balm after days of sitting at a desk or tackling household tasks. Shortly after, the chair reclined me almost flat, and I felt the internal roller arms begin their descent in a flowing, alternating sequence of kneading, shiatsu, and pulsing motions. The rhythmic pressure was calming yet invigorating, coaxing muscles to release tightness and allowing me to focus inward. As the rollers approached my lower body, I felt a buzz of anticipation. They thrummed deeply as they settled beneath my buttocks, sending vibrations that traveled straight to the area surrounding the inserted cucumber. The combination was exquisite, the chair's compression and kneading of my glute muscles, working through both towel and fabric, caused my internal cavity to respond with involuntary squirms and squeezes. The gentle but firm grip around the cucumber awakened nerve endings I hadn't fully appreciated before, sending delicious waves of pleasure radiating through my pelvic floor and lower abdomen. My hand rested loosely around my free companion, ready to offer attention when needed. A part of me was eager to let go, to allow the rising sensations to carry me away, but I chose restraint. The intensified stimulation from the massage had the power to push me to climax far sooner than I intended. Instead, I opted for a slow, measured pace, knowing that patience would amplify the eventual payoff. I pulled my underwear down slightly, freeing my attention-starved companion for unobstructed touch. My grip was gentle but deliberate, stroking in quiet harmony with the chair's movements. Occasionally, I backed off, slowing the rhythm, savoring the layered sensations instead of rushing the outcome. 15 minutes passed in this delicate dance between mechanical massage and personal touch. Each moment blended relaxation with arousal, creating a refined balance that felt both thrilling and peaceful when the program finally wound down. The chair slowly returned to its upright position, easing me out of recline and back into the room's familiar contours. I stretched slightly, feeling pleasantly spent yet eager for the next phase. I reached for a glass of water nearby, taking a long sip to stay hydrated. Then I moved toward the shower, hearing the faint hiss of running water already heating up. The steam rising in the bathroom promised a soothing environment for what was to come. Before stepping in, I checked the position of my inserted friend. Gently, I took out the cucumber, feeling a brief pang of loss before liberating it for cleaning and a fresh coating of lubricant. The renewed slickness promised smooth, easy re-entry. I wasn't quite ready to say goodbye to this intimate addition just yet. Nostalgically, I glanced over at our separate bathtub, a memory surfacing of the time we attempted closeness there. The confined space and slippery surfaces had made it more challenging than we'd anticipated. How do couples truly connect all the parts in such an awkward, hard-edged bowl? Shaking my head with a chuckle, I closed the door behind me as I stepped into the shower. The warm rain of water drenched me, releasing tensions from the day and enveloping me in a comforting embrace. I reached for the detachable shower head, setting the pressure to medium and switching to the soft needles mode. The gentle pulsing jets felt like fingertips sweeping slowly over the most sensitive parts of my body, a tender caress by water alone. For several minutes, I traced the stream over my lower region, the sensation adding another layer of delight to the experience. The warmth and moisture heightened my arousal, while the shower's gentle rhythm synced with my breathing, deepening my relaxation. As the minutes passed, I felt a growing eagerness building inside. The time to bring this session home was approaching. I reached behind me, wiggling my inserted friend cautiously, coaxing it to shift and remind me of its presence. I then eased down into a seated position on the shower floor, legs stretched out comfortably and my back against the cool tile. Steam swirled around, wrapping the space in softness. Grabbing the bottle of lubricant, I poured a generous amount across my hands, layering it evenly over my companion head, shaft, and a lingering smooth movement. I resumed a slow, deliberate rhythm, using my hand like a joystick, mimicking the motions that always brought pleasure. Simultaneously, I directed the shower head toward my perineum, sweeping gently around, then moving upward to the now reddened testicles, which strained with increasing impatience. The combination of warm water and sensitive touch created an electrifying sensation that pulsed through me, awakening every nerve ending. As I intensified my stroke, my breathing grew ragged, chest rising and falling with the demands of rising pleasure. I rocked back and forth lightly on the inserted cucumber, feeling it prod inside and sending waves of stimulation through my pelvic region. The pressure mounted steadily, each movement adding fuel to an internal fire that threatened to engulf every fiber of my being. My hand quickened its pace, moving furiously now in tandem with the constant, soothing touch of the shower's spray. The synergy of water, touch, and internal presence created a perfect storm of sensation. The interconnected triangle of pleasure-me hands, my lower regions, and the gentle internal pressure sent electric arcs of delight cascading through me. It was overwhelming in the best way possible, a crescendo building toward release. With a final surge, I gave in fully. The tension burst free in torrential waves of ecstasy, muscles contracting rhythmically throughout my body. I groaned aloud, the sound echoing softly in the tiled room as my companion surrendered, spurting warm fulfillment across my chest, neck, and even the sides of my face. My back arched involuntarily, my head twisting side to side as the intensity peaked and gradually ebbed, leaving me utterly spent and blissfully satisfied. Still seated on the shower floor, I leaned back against the cool wall, eyes closed. The warm water continued to pour over me, its continuous flow grounding me as aftershocks rippled through my body. 10 minutes of rest followed as I simply existed in the pure afterglow of self-care and release. When the time came to rise and clean up, I felt renewed, grateful for this intimate moment that had allowed me to fully embrace and honor my body's needs. The warm spray of the shower continued to cascade over me as I took a moment to catch my breath, feeling the lingering tremors still pulsing beneath my skin. My mind was quiet, wrapped in the gentle haze of afterglow. The water's soothing rhythm offered a comforting backdrop, inviting me to stay suspended in this rare state of complete relaxation. Yet I knew this moment was only part of the journey. There was still a little more care I wanted to give myself, before stepping back into the world outside the steamy sanctuary around me. With deliberate slowness, I reached behind to check on my inserted companion. Gently, I withdrew the cucumber, noting its warmth and slickness. It felt almost like a trusted partner in this intimate act, and I was careful to preserve the sense of respect I had cultivated throughout the afternoon. I took it over to the edge of the shower, drenching it with more lubricant, ensuring that it would glide smoothly once again for reinsertion. The cool, wet sensation of the newly applied lube contrasted with the lingering warmth of my skin, bringing a renewed awareness of the tactile elements I so carefully curated. After a brief moment's pause, I eased it back into place, embracing the comforting fullness it provided. The subtle pressure awakened areas too often neglected, deepening the connection between body and mind. I chuckled quietly as I glanced at the separate bathtub nearby, recalling the time my wife and I attempted to make love in that confined space. The memory was amusing. How do couples manage to connect all the parts in such a tight, hard-bottomed bowl? The awkwardness of it lingered in my mind, a reminder of the many ways comfort and intimacy require patience and experimentation. Shaking my head with a fond smile, I turned back to the shower and closed the glass door, enclosing myself in warmth and steam once more. Letting the water rain down fully over me, I reached for the detachable spray head on the shower wand, switching the pressure to a medium flow and selecting the soft needles mode that sent gentle pulsing jets over my skin. I began to sweep the stream slowly over my lower body, allowing the water to gently caress my companion and surrounding areas. The sensation was tender, yet electrifying, like 1,000 tiny fingers tracing every curve and contour with delicate precision. Time seemed to stretch as the water pulsed rhythmically, coaxing waves of relief and pleasure to wash over me. The steam thickened, wrapping the room in a soft haze that blurred the edges of reality, making the moment feel dreamlike and suspended. After several minutes of exploring this watery embrace, I sensed that the time had come to bring my experience toward its close. Slowly, I reached behind me and wiggled my inserted friend a little, reminding myself of the delicious fullness it provided, then eased down into a seated position on the shower floor. Legs stretched comfortably out before me. I leaned back against the tiled wall, the warmth sinking into every muscle. Grabbing the lube bottle once more, I poured a generous amount into my palm and began coating the head and shaft. The slickness allowed my hand to move effortlessly, working in a slow, almost lazy manner that invited anticipation rather than rushed release. Using my lubed hand like a joystick, I coaxed my companion with deliberate strokes, the motion connecting my body's different parts into a harmonious whole. I then brought the shower wand back into play, directing its gentle spray toward my perineum, sweeping the stream slowly across and around this highly sensitive area before moving upward to wash over my now reddened testicles, which strained under the heightening sensation. I began to stroke more vigorously, my breathing growing uneven and ragged. The rock back and forth on my inserted friend intensified the internal pleasure, each movement nudging the fullness deeper and stirring sensations that echoed across my pelvic floor. The shower's pulsating water continued to trace delicate patterns over my skin, heightening the thrill as my muscles tensed in anticipation. The pressure built steadily, like a wave gaining strength before crashing onto shore. My hand quickened, moving in sync with the growing intensity as I felt the approaching climax draw nearer. The convergence of sensations, the internal fullness, the tender touch of my hand, and the rhythmic pulse of the water created an electric triangle of pleasure that sparked through me, igniting every nerve. I knew there was no turning back now. The moment of release came with a rush, heat flooding my chest, face, and limbs as muscles contracted rhythmically in waves that stole my breath and sent me soaring over the edge. I groaned aloud, sounds of pure, untethered pleasure filling the steamy space around me while my companion pulsed vigorously, sending jets of warm fulfillment across my chest, neck, and even brushing my face in a wet, intimate embrace, my back arched in response, head tossing side to side as the tension melted away, leaving only bliss and deep satisfaction in its wake. Still sitting on the shower floor, I settled back against the cool wall, eyes closed, allowing the water to continue its steady fall over me. My heart slowed, breaths lengthened, and I embraced the profound calm that followed such intensity. For a full 10 minutes I remained there just resting, savoring the softness of the afterglow and the luxury of quietude. Afterward, feeling refreshed and whole, I rose to clean up and dry off. I glanced at the clock and was surprised to see that a full hour had passed. An hour of devoted self-care, of honoring my body and mind in a way that felt both sacred and healing. It had been well spent. I paused for a moment in gratitude, silently thanking the Lord for the incredible gift of our bodies, with all their complexities and capacities. I allowed myself a brief moment of reflection, wondering if the exploration I'd undertaken, particularly the inclusion of this gentle internal play, was perhaps a step beyond comfort zones. But after careful thought, I shrugged off the hesitation. Life is about growth and discovery, even in private moments. With a sense of peace, I moved forward, ready to face the next project on my to-do list, carrying with me the warmth and renewal of this personal journey.